Today we're going to actually do the installation of that center storage box in the Halo Cybertruck. And one quick note, I guess Test Studio has changed their name or has a new brand now, Teslovix. So you're going to see this article publish under that new name for the first time of Teslovix, Teslovix. So if you're wondering where that came from, it was an outgrowth of the old Test Studio brand. So with that, I'm going to open up this box, take out all the parts and lay them out and look at the directions, and then we'll get started on the install. Okay, here are the items taken out of the box. You can see the main sides there, the pieces that will go and assemble in between. There are instructions in the box. It says the only tools that are needed are screwdrivers and the 22 screws necessary to put together. And then, of course, there's a little card here for any support you might need, after sale. So I'm going to start unwrapping these, and it looks like inserting some pieces into the center console to get started. Okay, so as you can see, I've unwrapped almost all of the parts except for the side rails there. First part is part A that's going to go in the center console. That's this one. And something you might notice when these parts come in is that they do have this material that is kind of a rubberized traction material here that has an adhesive backing. And so you will need to peel these off, attach those pieces first before you insert them. Same for, there's one on this piece here, which I believe that is, what is that? Is that part E? This is part A. This is part B. It's got one that goes inside of it as well. Cup holders are part C. What else I got? And then this is part F here. So, and then part D's for the side pieces that I haven't undone yet. So anyway, instructions are pretty clear. Also notice too that there is a screwdriver and the pack of screws that are included. You can use a manual screwdriver like this, or I may just use one of my electric ones set on low power. I don't want to strip out any screws going into plastic. So looks like the first part we need to put in is this one, is known as part A, but I want to put that strip down inside of it first before I go and insert it into the truck. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to take it into the truck. Okay, so now we have this first part to put in the center of the truck. As you can see, I've inserted the liner. This actually doesn't have an adhesive back to it. It just is a little more grippy when you peel that piece off. So according to the instructions, this just inserts right here. All right, looks like it's going to kind of rest up against that for the moment until we get probably some other parts inserted, and obviously at some point we got to get those side rails, but we've got the main piece inserted there, and now we'll go grab the second piece to be inserted. And according to the instructions, that is take out part B. Part B is our one with our little doorway here, and I was trying to see if it showed which direction that doorway goes. It looks like the front lip on that, I guess it would make the most sense to maybe go this way facing forward, because you're not going to want to have that open up that direction, so that this would be towards the front of the vehicle. So I'm going to have to pause just a second while I forgot to take off the backing of this piece and get it inserted, and then I'll go set this inside the truck. Okay, so sure enough, this piece with the little closing door on it like this inserts that direction, and then this leaves a center gap here, which is going to get filled by this cup holder piece, which, apologies, I didn't get this undone, so probably gonna have to pause a second and take that out of the package. Okay, there we go. As you can see, I've got this piece inserted now. This does have kind of a nice rubberized insert here. It has very similar shape to the factory cup holders as well, and a little center area here, I guess, for dropping some coins or something in. So, and then you'll notice on the sides, there are the various spots here where the screws are going to go through and attach. So the next step calls for getting out the side rail. So let's go grab one of those. Okay, so here I've taken the side piece out of the bag, and you can see there are the places here for the screws that are along the bottom, and those are the ones that you're going to attach first, because we still have items to insert in the top before we attach any of the top screws. So we're going to go put this in the truck and start attaching the bottom screws. Okay, starting off, I have just first set this in here just to see how well it sits up, and it does seem to fit up pretty good. The holes, for the most part, look like they line up. I'm going to get started with inserting the screws into those, but so far so good for this side of the truck. Okay, that didn't take long to get the screws in. In fact, you really don't need anything other than that screwdriver. Electric screwdriver is probably overkill. I will say that I started with this one first on the side of the cup holder because I could literally kind of hold my hand on the back side and position around until I felt that that was exactly lined up. And of course, once you get that lined up, it pretty much automatically lines up all of the other screws. And again, I've left the top ones out because we still have some more to put in. But the next step is to repeat this process on the other side of the truck. Okay, so I've got the driver's side one attached. One thing I did want to show you is, and I'm sure it's just because the bolts are all tightened in, or the screws are all tightened in here at the bottom, and it's kind of pulling in at the bottom. The upper part is sticking out. Now that's not true on this side, or just slightly on this side versus significantly on this side, but I don't think that's going to make any difference because once I insert the parts in here and then bring the top screws together on those parts, then this is going to snug up, and we'll see that when I get finished here. So I would say if you start to install it and you see this, oh my gosh, it's flexing out, is that a problem? I really don't think it's going to be, but we'll see as I get finished up here whether it turns out to be or not. Okay, this next piece I just kind of loosely inserted in here, but to show you what it's like, it is this angled piece that's going to go in, line up so that the holes here line up, and it just kind of creates a little, kind of extra compartment where you can put items down in here. So I've got it lined up. I need to obviously put the screws in from the side into the piece, get it to hold to both sides. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then we'll get started with the last piece after this one. Okay, just quickly wanted to show you that, yes, by attaching that piece and bringing, some screws together here and here, down there and down there, that those have already helped kind of bring that center piece together. And then obviously as we put this last top piece on and put its screws in, it's going to further solidify that. So let me go get that final piece. Okay, so here's the final piece that's going to get inserted over here and attached. But I know a couple people have asked, like, hey, could I potentially put some sort of charging pad here for phones so I could just lay them down? Now, the bottom side is just straight plastic, but this rubber piece does pull up. So you could conceivably either cut out, a couple of circles here for, a couple of QI pads and then run a line somewhere, whether it's up underneath the dash and over to an accessory, or maybe you sneak it up underneath somehow and run it into one of the USB ports. I think it's certainly possible, and I might investigate that later and see if there's something I want to do in that regard. But for now, we're going to go ahead and get this installed and get the screws fastened down. Okay, one little tip for you when installing this top piece. I actually loosened this screw so that I could flex this side out a little bit, just enough that I could pop this down inside the rail. I fed it in on the other side first and then needed to pop it down on this side. And then I just put that screw back in, and of course now I'm going to put the rest of these screws in. But I just thought I would show that for a moment in case you were struggling to get this piece in between these two rails. It's okay to take that one out and allow yourself to come back over a little bit to drop the piece in. So let me get these tightened up, and then we'll give some final thoughts on this item. All right, as you can see, we are completely installed now with this center console. Looks very nice. It fits in well. It's sturdy. It's solid. Integrated nicely with the looks of the Cybertruck. I think it really kind of looks like, hey, this really is maybe what the Cybertruck should have been all along, because it's got kind of this nice center spine that sort of continues through the truck, if you will. So I like it. I think it looks great. Like I said, it might be nice to put some charging pads there. The cup holders work okay. I can insert, remove the cup pretty easily. Looking at the little slider box down here, sure, I can slide, put something in there, cover that up. There is the little kind of, little secret middle cubby you have here for putting some things in. Obviously, you can put some things in further up there if you want them kind of tucked out of the way. So all in all, I think it's very nice. Looks good. I'm going to keep this in the truck for a while and see how I like it overall. Is it handy to stick some extra takeout food in there or something you might pick up somewhere? I know my girlfriend's purse, sometimes she's looking for a place to put it, maybe in the center. That's a little easier than having that other one that I had in here previously. So if there is a downside, nothing's perfect. If there is a downside, I'd say once this is in, you're probably not going to be wanting to take it out, or at least if you've got other things that you want to do in your truck. For example, if you're going to put on a swivel screen like I have here that takes getting behind the screen and underneath it, and you need to lay on the floor, well, this thing's going to be in the way, right? So you want to do some modifications like that. Say, for example, a screen mod before you do this mod. Or in my other video that talks about tapping into power, which I did down below down here to tap into DC power and then run it up and over and down into the passenger footwell. Obviously, I wanted to do that before I put this center console in, because once it's in, it's kind of in. You can't just take it out without disassembling it. Can you disassemble it? Sure. 20 some odd screws to completely disassemble it. Probably maybe a few less than that if you just needed to yank it out of there halfway or something. But this is really designed more to be in here and be, a semi-permanent structure, if you will, versus that other one, which was just an insert piece that had some storage and some cup holders, which was nice, and you could take it out quickly if you decided you wanted the space for something else. But, this one I think adds a much more integrated, nicer, cleaner look to the truck. And so far, pleased with the installation. It wasn't difficult. And hopefully you've been able to follow along with this video. And obviously we will look for Teslovix to provide some sort of discount code for our viewers. It's usually Tesla Ken. I'll see if they can support the same one going forward. And again, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, and particularly to this article blog as well too. Just insert your email. Again, we're not going to spam you. The only thing you're going to get is a notification email update when new articles and videos like this one publish. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Again, I want to thank our newest sponsor, Teslovix, for supplying this new center console. I'm Tesla Ken for the Halo Cybertruck website. Stay tuned.